What's going on, everybody? It's Larry Lursey. Welcome back to the channel. I've got another great video for you this week. It's going to be another vacation photo rescue. I've got another Italy image that we're going to play around with. Just one that didn't come out as nicely as I had hoped. And I'm going to see if I can kind of attack it in Photoshop and Luminar and throw some things at it and build it up to a level that has a little bit more impact. Should be a lot of fun. If you don't already have Luminar, there's a link down in the description. I'll give you a coupon code as well that you can get it as a discount. But if you want to download it and follow along with me with your own image, you're certainly welcome to do so. Before we get going, I hope you'll take a second to subscribe to the channel, ring the bell. As you may know, my goal this year was to reach 1 billion subscribers. And as you can tell from the chart, I'm still a little short of that. We've got a little bit of time left. I'm starting to worry a little bit. Anyways, still a little short, could use your support. Hope you'll take a second to do that. But without any further ado, let's roll the intro. Okay, so here's the image we're going to be working on today. It's a little bike that was just sitting on the corner in this little Italian town, and loved that it was sitting right here with this little splash of red on this background. Thought it looked really nice. So this should be a fun one to play around with and see what we can do to enhance it in Luminar. Now, as you know, what I tend to do is I like to go in and kind of repair things first and then enhance. So first thing I want to do is go through and clean up some things that I'm not crazy about in this image, and I'll just show you a couple of them. Big one being not crazy about this pipe going up through here, so we can try the spot healing. It's possible that it will erase it for us. Let's see, use my brackets to change the brush size. Highlight the whole thing, see what happens. It actually did pretty well. It's left a little bit of a seam through there. You can see kind of some repetitions, but we'll go back and fix that in a minute. But this part looks pretty good. So while I've got the spot healing brush, I see this little piece of trash down here. I'm going to go ahead and take that out. That was easy. I don't see other little things. I like this little horse or dog or whatever that is there on the side. Kind of cool. I hadn't noticed that before. So let's go back here to the clone stamp tool, and I'm going to set it to, I don't know, about 75%. And I'm just going to patch a few areas here, like hold down my Option key, paste there, Option. Just kind of get rid of a little bit of that repetition. Okay, also I'm not crazy about this pipe sticking out here on the side, so let's get back to our spot healing. See if it will come through for us again. Perfect. All right, pretty happy with that. Only thing's bugging me a little bit, it feels like it's a tiny bit off center. This seems to be leading to the right a little bit. You kind of see it here in the door frame as well. So I'm going to try and straighten the image a little bit. First thing I'm going to need to do is turn off background. Just by double clicking on it, this will allow me to rotate the canvas around. Then I'm going to come over here and grab the ruler. It's in there with the eyedropper if you don't see it. And I'm going to grab something that I know to be straight up and down, or what I hope to be straight up and down, and that's this seam of this wall right there. Oh, I think I missed it by a little bit. Let's try one more time. Up to there. So I'm basically connecting that piece to that piece. Then all I have to do is go to Image, Image Rotation Arbitrary, and it's going to try to make that line straight. So it's saying I need to go counterclockwise by 0.4, and I'm going to pull back just a little bit and say 0.3 just because I think that's going to be too much. And that's pretty good. I think that's pretty straight there. You can see it's left us this little bit of an edge around here, which we're going to need to clean up, and so I'll just go ahead and do that real quick by cropping in a little bit on this image all the way around. Just like that. Image crop. Here we go. Now we've got something we can work with. We've got these two little pieces here, which I'm not crazy about. Let's see if we could spot heal those away, just so I don't have these black spots right on the edge of my frame. Okay, I think that's about all we can do for now. So well, let's go ahead and make a copy. double click on that and call it LUM for Luminar, just so we remember what it is we're working with here. And let's go ahead and jump into the software. So we'll go to Skylum Luminar AI. All right, and as always, we've got all these templates over here. It's going to recommend some of these for us that we could go through and just try out some of these templates if we wanted to. But I want to go through and kind of do this one by hand so that we can see how each different part works. So let's start out with the accent. We're just going to start at the top and work our way through. And one thing you can do, of course, is go all the way and see before and after, see what it's doing. I really like what that enhance does. I'm not really even sure what it's doing, but it just kind of gives it a nice little bit of extra pop. So I'm going to dial in a good deal of that right there. Okay, coming down here to structure. We don't need a whole lot of structure help. We'll give it a little bit. Set those to like 10 and 10. Just brings out a little bit more of that wall texture, which I think looks nice. We can take a look here at landscape. Obviously there's not too much foliage here, but we've got a little bit of greenery there, and I thought maybe this would make those plants pop just a tiny bit, and it does. Let's see the before and after. Okay, it's also making that door pop, but that's fine. All right, happy with that so far. Let's give it a little bit of vignette. Click on choose subject. Click right there as our subject. And then we just start dialing up just a little bit, about like that. Again, you can't really see it at all right now, but when we turn it off, see it there on the edges. And that's what you want with the vignette. You want it to look like there's nothing there. When it gets to the point that you can see it, you've gone too far. So let's go into dramatic. And what dramatic will do is you'll see it's going to kind of take away saturation, but also kind of bring in a little more sharpness and contrast, just some grit to it. And what you're going to usually want to do is offset that by adding the saturation back in. And what you just have to do is you play around with it till it looks right, and then try turning it off and back on. I think I want more saturation. And I'm going to pull it back a little bit. It's only about 19 now. Subtle change, but I like how the bike jumps out a little bit more there. You can play around it in mood, and to me, these we're adding these tables can add all kinds of interesting looks. That's actually kind of interesting, that San Diego. And I don't know that we're going to want to throw such a harsh change at it. I do kind of like that cold color punch, but kind of like that color punch hot. Let's do a before and after on that one. From that to that. I kind of like that antique look, which is kind of the way I was planning on going for this. And I like how that's giving it a little more of an antique type look. Let's even try punching it up a little bit more. I like that. Okay. Not going to have much need for any of these other ones. Let's get back down here to contrast, super contrast. And we're going to go through here. What I like to do is put just a little bit on each of these, kind of as a starting point. And then you take, like, for example, the highlight balance, and you try sliding it left or right. And decide where you want that to go. And it's going to be a minor change because of the settings that we have. But I'm going to bring that in about like that. Let's see what the shadows. All right, get it about how you think looks good. There you go. Pretty subtle, which is fine. And then what I want to try doing to this one is, you know what, first off, let me go into dodge and burn. I think we could benefit a little bit from dodging and burning. I'd like to darken down this area up here, maybe some of this foreground as well. So I'm going to switch to darken. Pretty good size brush, all the way softness. And let's bring this down to pretty low. I'm going to bring it down like about 15, 16. come through kind of like this. Darken the edge of that doorway a little bit. Get that top part. Using the brackets to make my brush a little smaller. Okay, let's look at the before and after. Definitely like that better. We've kind of brought some attention down to here and kind of darken up in this space. Let's crank it up a tiny bit more and see if I can just darken that top edge up there and that corner a little bit. Okay, happy with that. Okay, before and after. So now here's a good time to go ahead and click on this little compare tool. And so we went from here to here. So very different look. That's much more flat. This one's got just so much more punch and color to it. It's definitely more stylized, but I like how that's working. Let's go ahead and save this preset. And we'll have to come up here to templates, my templates, rename it, call this old bike. And then one other thing I want to do here, go back to edit, is you want to click on this little local masking brush and I want to add a texture. And I'm going to kind of give this thing, let me turn this off up here. I want to give it a texture overlay to kind of add to this antique look that I'm going for. And so we'll go sit here and go down to the bottom. And I've got a few already loaded in here. But what you'll want to do, one thing you can do is you can hit get more textures and it'll kick you over to the Luminar website where there's this found textures you can get for free. There's other ones you can buy and things, but this one's free. So I've downloaded that one and got it into my system. Once you have it in here, you click on these, you click on the plus, and this is that found textures kit wherever you've saved it, and you can pick one. You kind of go through, you can hit the space bar to preview, and we're going to look for one that will just kind of go toward that antique look, and I think it's going to be that 6. I think that's a good one, that number 6. We'll hit open. It's asking me that because I've already downloaded it once. Okay, so we bring up the opacity all the way. This is what that looks like. Bring it down a tiny bit. You're going to want to open advanced settings because it's going to look terrible like this. It looks like somebody just laid it on top. You've got to change the blending mode, and it's usually going to be overlay or soft light. But again, there's no reason not to just go through and try different ones as long as you get some kind of cool looks. But for this one, we're going to go with soft light. Bring this down a little bit. Now, it will throw off your color a little bit. So in this case, you might want to consider dialing back the saturation of that overlay. And you can see, depends on how you want to tweak the color here. Take down the brightness. I think that works. I want to bring the opacity down just a little bit more like this. And let's look at the before and after. I think that works pretty well. Okay, pretty happy with that. All right, so let's again look at our before and after from that to that. So it's interesting. Now, one thing you might want to do as you're playing with this is it's easy to get to where things have just gone crazy. And so you can come down here and sort of dial it out. We can do that once we get into Photoshop too, but if you want to kind of save time ahead of time and say, oh, I think it's a little too over the top, you can come back this way. Take a look at that. I think that works pretty well. I'm pretty happy with that. Let's go ahead and hit apply. All right, and I want to go up here, whoops, click up here and change this to old bike. So I remember that's the name of the preset. And here I go. There's the processed and there's the unprocessed. And again, you can, if you look at this, decide it's a little much for you, you can dial it back. We can take it down to 85 or so. But I like that. I really like the tones there. I think that works nicely. Okay, pretty happy with how that turned out. Like we've done in other videos, I think we did a series of small steps that kind of moved an image from being so-so to a lot more impactful. And I think that's always the course you want to take. You don't want to just blast it with one thing. It's just making a lot of small changes. And typically, I find that gets the best results. If you don't already have Luminar, there is a link in the description. You can use the coupon code LarryPhoto and get a discount on that purchase, whether that's the Luminar AI that I'm using right now or the new Luminar Neo that's coming out very soon. Both of those are going to be really cool products to help you along your photographic journey. But that's about it for this video. Subscribe if you haven't already done so. One last reminder for that. And I hope to see you back at the next video when we will take a look at another image and see what we can do to fix it. Take care. Bye-bye. If you haven't already subscribed, I don't understand why I'm having. If you haven't already subscribed to the... That was too much emphasis. I'm really struggling with this one.